Steam rose from the pine-rimmed roofs of Snowdrop Mountain Resort and mingled with the icy afternoon mist, giving the place the look of a fairy tale village caught halfway between winter and dream. Ryan Shaw, trim in a navy parka bearing the resort crest, made his daily rounds, nodding to bellhops, sniffing for burned coffee, straightening flyers that endlessly slid sideways on the lobby tables. It was a cozy job, chalet manager, a rhythm of check-ins, spa towels, and the distant music of lift machinery. But lately an uneasiness had crept in, as insistent as the wind that tested every window. The source of that worry was Lily Chen, a gifted snowboarder, 23, who had vanished 3 nights ago after a practice run on the North Face. One board found propped in the powder, no Lily. Avalanche beacons caught no signal. The sheriff's department, the volunteer patrol, helicopters with heat cameras, nothing. Ryan had stood in those searches, eyes watering in a gale, repeating Lily's name into the white roar of the slopes. He was no blood relative, just the man who managed her favourite lodging, yet he felt responsible. Snowdrop prided itself on safety. Guests trusted the place the way they might trust a friend. By noon on Saturday, the resort's annual Fondue fiesta was underway. It was their warm-up before the peak holiday rush. 2 enormous copper cauldrons of cheese and chocolate, strings of lights looped through birch poles, a DJ coaxing dancers onto an ice-brushed patio. Families dipped cubes of rye and strawberries, laughing whenever a mittened kid lost grip of a skewer. Ryan forced himself to circulate with a smile, clipboard tucked beneath an arm, reminding servers to replenish crocs and to keep the propane heaters at a low hiss. Chef Emilia Karen supervised the main attraction, the cheese pit, a circular, stone-lined basin 2 meters wide, 90 centimeters deep, heated from below by a bank of flameless burners. The fondue inside smelled of alpine gruyere, nutmeg, and a hint of rosemary, a secret blend for which guests returned every year. Emilia wore her tall toque like a crown, and she had one iron rule: nothing, absolutely nothing, entered the pit except bread and ladles. At 3:17 p.m. something broke that rule. A small girl from cabin 14 lost her marshmallow, started to cry, and a nearby teen volunteer, Toby Norwick, leaned across the low wall with a long-handled spoon to fish it out. He stirred the tinged surface, went white, and shouted, "I think there's a person in here." Ryan's heart punched his ribs. He bounded to the rim. Beneath the creamy top layer, a shape, a bulky jacket sleeve maybe, floated up in a wave. For one stunned moment the fiesta crowd froze, music crackling mid-beat. Then screams snapped the air like tearing sailcloth. "Everyone back!" Ryan barked, dropping his clipboard. He vaulted the safety gate, grabbed the rim, and kicked a boot onto a hidden foothold built for cleaning. Cheese sloshed, hissing against the stone. He plunged an arm, fingers skimming wool, nylon, flesh chilled despite the scalding bath. With help from the ski patrol lieutenant, he hauled the limp body over the edge and onto a linen-draped table. It was Lily Chen. Her snowboard trousers were soaked, jacket partly unzipped, goggles missing. Skin ghost pale, lips cracked. Yet when Ryan pressed 2 fingers to her neck, he felt the weak flutter of a pulse. Lifeguard training from summers long past returned like muscle memory. He cleared her airway, tilted her head, listened for breath. She coughed, just once, the sound like aluminum crumpling. The crowd murmured relief and dread in equal measure. Paramedics packed warm compresses around her, started oxygen, and whisked her toward the infirmary sled. Ryan, still dripping cheese from both sleeves, stared after them. Questions hammered his skull. How had Lily ended up in the pit? Had she wandered, delirious from hypothermia, into the event? Why were there no exterior signs of trauma? Sheriff Arturo Brandt arrived within 20 minutes, heavy boots crunching stray baguette ends. Brandt was a barrel-chested man, with ice-rimmed eyebrows and a voice like a baritone avalanche. "Ryan, I need a secure space and a roster of your staff. No one leaves without talking to my deputies." "Yes, Sheriff." Ryan nodded, cheeks burning with vinegar-sharp guilt. But guilt did not paralyze him. Instead, it ignited his determination. Snowdrop's reputation, Lily's life, and his own sense of right demanded answers. Brandt would follow protocol, of course, yet Ryan had vantage points the law lacked. He knew every maintenance alcove, every private dispute whispered in the laundry chute. Sometimes, to protect your house, you had to ski into its shadows. He changed out of the cheese-stiff parka, swapped for a black softshell, and tromped toward the infirmary chalet. Lily lay inside a pressurized warming tent, unconscious but stable. A nurse allowed Ryan 5 minutes. He studied Lily's gear on a side table, jacket pockets turned out by medics, revealing chapstick, an energy bar, a lift pass punched 3 days earlier, and a tiny metal pin shaped like a snowflake. The pin glinted oddly, as if its edges were filed sharper than mere jewelry. Ryan remembered Lily wearing it on her beanie during last week's sponsor mixer. It had been a gift, she'd said, from Damien Cross, the superstar snowboarder, whose endorsement of Snowdrop had quadrupled bookings. Damien overflowed with swagger and trademarked grins. He and Lily had shared a coach, but also a rivalry. Ryan left the infirmary before Brandt could corner him. He followed the slopeside path to the luxury ridge suites where Damien typically lodged. Mid-stride, he texted his assistant to stall any press that showed up. Suite 307's door hung ajar. Ryan knocked anyway, then stepped inside. A snowboard bag, zipper open, sprawled across the couch. Wax scrapings littered the carpet. On the coffee table lay a map of Snowdrop's north face, circles drawn in red marker around 3 glades, known for untouched powder, but also unstable cornices. Above the fireplace Damien stood, eyes red, hair damp. "If you're here about Lily, I already told the sheriff I don't know where she went." He splayed his hands. They trembled faintly. "I just want to understand," Ryan said. "You gave her that snowflake pin?" Damien frowned. "Yeah, it's our team emblem. Why?" "It looks modified, edges sharpened." Damien snorted. "We both sharpen everything. Blades, wits. Symbols too, I guess." He dropped onto the armchair, chest heaving as if he'd sprinted. "I shouldn't have let her ride alone that night. We had an argument, sponsors, image crap. She needed air. I stayed at the lodge. Next day, the search started." Ryan believed the regret, but smelled secrets beneath it. Who else knew where she practiced? Coach Becker, Damien said. And maybe Ewald. Ewald Haugen, Snowdrop's maintenance chief, kept the lifts oiled and the boilers humming. He also knew the underbelly of every structure, including the Fondue pit's hidden service corridor. Ryan thanked Damien and left, boot soles squeaking across polished oak. Outside, twilight bled lavender across the valley. The fiesta had been evacuated, leaving strings of lights swaying over abandoned tables. Chef Amelia, wrapped in a plaid shawl, supervised the draining of the sullied fondue. Beyond her, deputies taped off the area. Ryan angled toward the service gate, flashed his credentials, and descended a ladder that led beneath the patio. The service corridor smelled of gas heat and old yeast. It ran 10 meters, ending beneath the stone basin. There, trestles supported the copper cauldron and housed the circulation pumps. A maintenance panel lay unbolted. Ryan knelt, sweeping his flashlight. Scratches marred the copper, scuff marks from boots, fresh. A patch of melted snow pooled in a corner, tinged with blue fuzz from Lily's jacket lining. She hadn't fallen in from above. She'd been dragged in from below, shoved through a hatch that opened directly into the cheese. Whoever did it knew the layout. A metallic pop echoed behind him. Ryan spun. Ewald Haugen emerged from the shadows, hair streaked with silver grease, eyes unreadable. "Ryan, you shouldn't be down here. Sheriff's orders." Ryan kept his beam steady on the man's boots, noting cheese splatter drying on the laces. "Did you open the panel for deputies yet?" "Was about to." Ewald wiped his hands on a rag. "Terrible thing, but she'll live." "How did Lily get through this corridor?" Ryan asked, voice even. Ewald's jaw flexed. "I imagine she got lost. There's access from the old snowmaking tunnel." Ryan knew that tunnel, sealed off years ago. "Show me." "I'd rather wait for law enforcement." Ryan squared his shoulders. "Ewald, guests trusted us with their lives. If you know something, tell me now so we can help Lily." A flicker, guilt or calculation, moved across Ewald's face. He exhaled, defeated. "Fine. Follow me." He led Ryan through a maze of ducting until they reached a steel door disguised behind stacked chairs. Ewald swung it open. A narrow shaft sloped downward, lined with frost. "Old mine prospect tunnel," Ewald said. "Almost nobody remembers it." "But you do," Ryan said, clicking his radio to silent. "I do maintenance. I remember everything," Ewald replied. He stepped inside. Ryan hesitated, then followed 2 paces behind. They passed rusted ore carts, footprints fresh in slush. Ryan's mind raced. If Ewald had abducted Lily, what was the motive, and why leave her alive? They rounded a bend. The tunnel ended at a plywood door secured by a padlock, smashed open. Inside, portable heaters ringed a cramped room. A cot, blankets, water jugs, and protein packs suggested someone had sheltered here recently. "Lily camped here," Ryan murmured. "Why?" Ewald's voice cracked. "Because she asked me for a hiding spot." Ryan turned, disbelief rising. "She staged her own disappearance?" "Sort of." Ewald rubbed his temples with greasy fingers. "She said she found proof Damien doped his rivals, slipped microdoses into their hydration packs to blunt reflexes. She needed time to compile evidence before going public. She thought if she vanished, sponsors would pressure him, maybe force a confession." Ryan tried to absorb it. "Why involve you?" "She knew I owed her. Last year she saved my granddaughter after a tree well fall. I'd give her anything. But she ended up half dead in Fondue." Ewald's shoulders sagged. "I was delivering supplies last night when Damien showed up, furious. He'd tracked her phone somehow. They argued. I hid behind the heaters. Damien tried to force Lily back to the lodge to sign some non-disclosure. She resisted. He shoved her. She hit her head on that cart." Ewald pointed to a spot with dark flakes, dried blood. "I panicked," he continued, voice trembling. "Damien threatened me, said I'd lose my job if I spoke. We couldn't take Lily to the clinic without questions." He noticed the service corridor map on the wall. Said the Fondue pit was being drained at dawn. No risk. We could store her there until we figured out a story. Ryan felt the cold of the mountain clamp onto his spine. "So he convinced you to help?" I carried her. He opened the hatch. We lowered her in. Cheese covered everything. He told me the fat layer would insulate her, keep her vitals warm. I didn't know if that was true, but I was terrified." Tears streaked Ewald's grime. I checked her at dawn. She was breathing. Planned to get her out after tonight's fiesta, once crowds thinned. Then Toby stirred the pot early. Ryan's stomach lurched between disgust and pained sympathy. You have to tell Sheriff Brandt. I will, Ewald whispered. But Damien's leaving tonight. Private heli at sunset. If he goes, nothing sticks. Ryan looked at his watch. 5:41 p.m. Sunset in 19 minutes. Then we stop him. He reached for his radio. Static answered. Dead battery. Damp cheese must have seeped in earlier. Ryan cursed softly. Cell signal in the tunnel showed 1 bar, then none. They would have to intercept Damien on the mountain. I'll ski, Ryan said. Cut him off at the helipad ridge. He met Ewald's eyes. Go straight to Brandt. Confess everything. Lily's life depends on the truth. Ewald nodded, resolve knitting his features. They retraced steps, climbed past the Fondue basin, where deputies still catalogued evidence. Ewald headed to the sheriff, rag held like a flag of surrender. Ryan sprinted to the gear locker, clipped into a pair of demo all-mountain skis, grabbed a radio handset from the patrol rack, and bolted outside. Night seeped over the peaks, stars flickering like ice flecks. The helipad perched across a black diamond run. No lifts operated this late, but wind left a glaze of corduroy. Ryan pushed off, legs remembering childhood races. The snow hissed under edges, each turn spraying silver. Halfway down, he keyed the patrol channel. Base, this is Shaw. Urgent. Detain Damien Cross at helipad. Suspect in Lily Chen incident. The radio crackled. Then Patrol Chief Adele Rogers responded. Copy, but we're 10 minutes out. Ryan dropped into a tuck, skis nipping the slope. Trees blurred. He reached the ridge and spotted rotor blades gleaming under portable floodlights. A pilot in headset performed pre-flight checks. Damien, board bag slung over shoulder, strode toward the chopper. Damien, Ryan shouted. Wind whipped his words. Damien's head snapped up. For a heartbeat, his eyes flashed panic. Then his mouth twisted into a salesman's smile. Ryan, I was just heading to town to meet my agent. Sheriff said I could leave. Ryan planted poles, chest heaving. Sheriff never cleared you. Lily's awake. She told us everything. The lie rolled out smooth. Damien's nostrils flared. That's impossible. Maybe, but deputies are on their way. Stay, defend yourself. Damien took 2 steps backward. His hand slid to his snowboard bag, and with a rasp of Velcro he drew something, an avalanche spade, blade polished. Get out of my way, manager boy. Adrenaline drowned Ryan's fear. He flicked his ski pole straps free, raised the poles in a cross. You hurt one guest, nearly killed another. End of the run, Damien. The pilot, startled, killed the engine. Rotor spin slowed. Damien lunged, swinging the spade. Ryan sidestepped on skis, awkward but possible, and hooked a pole behind Damien's knee. Damien stumbled, boots skidding on the icy pad. The spade clanged onto metal decking. Ryan tackled him, momentum sliding them towards the edge where floodlights met black air. They grappled. Damien's fist thudded Ryan's rib, breath bursting out. Ryan twisted, leveraging weight, pressing Damien's cheek against frozen steel. He yanked the man's wrists behind his back, just as patrol snowmobiles roared up the service trail, red strobes spinning. Deputies piled out, cuffing Damien while reading rights. As they hauled him away, Damien kept repeating, I was protecting the brand. You don't understand. Ryan sank onto a crate, lungs burning. The resort lights shimmered below like upturned constellations. The cold gnawed at sweat on his brow, yet relief warmed him deeper than any fireplace. Later, inside the infirmary, Lily stirred awake, wincing as a nurse adjusted her IV. Ryan sat beside her, soft beanie in hand. Her gaze focused slowly, recognition flickering. "You made it," he said, voice husky. She grimaced a ghost of a smile. "Thought I'd drown in cheese fondue. That'd be an embarrassing obituary." "Not happening on my watch," he answered. She closed her eyes, tears leaking sideways. "Damien?" "In custody," Ryan assured. "Ewald confessed. Sheriff's building the case. Rest now." She exhaled, the lines of tension easing. 3 days later, snow fell soft as down. Press outlets buzzed about the Fondue mystery, but Ryan kept statements brief. The resort would cooperate fully and double safety audits. Guests rallied with compassion rather than fear, dropping get-well cards at the front desk. Lily's room overflowed with flowers. In a private meeting, Sheriff Brandt thanked Ryan for initiative that bordered on recklessness, adding with a grudging grin, but recklessness that saved a life. Ewald faced charges for obstruction, but, given Lily's written plea, would likely receive probation and mandatory community service, repairing rescue huts along the ridge he loved. Damien Cross, meanwhile, confronted a storm of legal and sponsorship fallout that no spin could melt. On the first clear dawn after the chaos, Ryan donned skis and glided to the highest overlook. The mountains sprawled under sunlight, serene, as if the ground itself preferred truth once the lies were shoveled away. From below, he heard laughter, families returning to the slopes. The Fondue pit had been scrubbed, blessed by the health inspector, and would reopen at Christmas. People craved warmth in winter and stories beside fireplaces. Snowdrop would give them both, but with stronger walls around their trust. Ryan planted his poles, inhaled the crisp air, and pushed off, carving a fresh line toward the heart of the resort he had pledged to protect. Ready, if need be, to ski into its secrets again.